Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new match preview. Wolves will be travelling to Bournemouth on Wednesday for what could be quite a crucial game. It's already 4 games without a win for Wolves this season. A lot of pressure on Bruno Lage, who's picked up just 4 points from his last 33 available. And of course, Bournemouth and then Southampton at home on Saturday. Wolves have got to be getting at least 1 win from those games before a very, very tough run in the league. It was another point at the weekend against Newcastle United. Wolves had the lead for such a long period of time, and it was such an avoidable goal that was conceded in the end, which has obviously frustrated a lot of fans, and we were hoping for a reaction. We're playing up against Bournemouth, who had a very heavy defeat. So heavy, in fact, it was the equal biggest defeat for a team. They lost 9-0 to Liverpool on the weekend. So Premier League record for that win for them. And it will be intriguing to see how Bournemouth react to that. They're going to be fragile. Our guest, who we'll speak to in a minute, wasn't too pleased with what Scott Parker, the manager, had to say after that game as well. So I think, yeah, the squad are going to be fragile, and it's up to Wolves to pile that pressure on and hopefully for us, pile the misery on and try and score some goals, because we know goals have been the issue. And it's almost for us Wolves fans waiting for something just to click and see these goals come flooding in. This is probably the best opportunity Wolves going to have to be able to do that. But who knows what's going to happen there. In terms of fitness, it looks like it's going to be the same squad available for the game that we saw at Newcastle. But with the amount of games that are coming in, can we afford to play the exact same squad? My lineup for this game is on the screen now. I would go more attacking. I would go with a 4-2-3-1 and try and put a little bit of pressure on Bournemouth. Back 4, of bringing Ryan Aït-Nouri in for Johnny. I thought Semedo, if he's going to be fit, keep him in the squad. He's phenomenal against Newcastle United. Nathan Collins and Max Kilman as the back 2, with obviously Jose Sarr in goal. Midfield 2, and Mateus Nunes and Ruben Neves. Again, Moutinho, brilliant, but just got to be wary of that fitness, I think. Daniel Podence I would put as the number 10, with the left-hand side of Neto, right-hand side of Guedes, or obviously swapping those 3, and then Raul Jimenez up top. We're hoping that Wolves are going to get a few new signings in. I'm recording this as of Monday afternoon. Nothing happening as of yet. Willy Bolly, a big talking point. Looks like he's going to be going to Nottingham Forest if it's not already confirmed. Really disappointed, by the way, with how his time at Wolves has ended. Refused, or not even refused, just didn't turn up at Molineux despite Bruno Lage naming him in the squad on Sunday. So really disappointing end for him. And before we move on to the opposition preview, obviously our sponsors over at Betmate, we've got another pot available for you guys to join. It's a £2 entry. It's the Premier League Wednesday Treble, so you can pick players from the 3 games on Wednesday evening. A link to join is in the description down below. A guaranteed payout of £400. This is my team on the screen right now. I've gone with Emi Martinez of Aston Villa in goal against Arsenal, João Cancelo and Gabriel as the 2 defenders, Martin Odegaard and Ruben Neves in the middle, and Erling Haaland up front with Gabriel Jesus. Of course, it's UK residents only, 18+, so please do gamble aware. Hoping that Neves has another stormer. He was my captain for the Betmate game of the weekend, and obviously did well, scoring the goal as well. So yeah, I spoke to Craig from the YouTube channel Up the Cherries in all departments, and these were his thoughts ahead of the game. So then, guys, delighted to welcome Craig from Up the Cherries in all departments for our opposition preview today. Craig, apart from the football, how are you keeping, mate?
Yeah, doing all well. Doing all well, mate. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, it's my pleasure. Obviously, it's been a difficult, strange weekend for Bournemouth, which I'm sure we'll get into in the preview today. Newly promoted team have been given a really tough start to the Premier League. Kicked off with a victory against Aston Villa. But in your opinion, Craig, how has the start of the season gone for you so far?
So, to be honest, I didn't expect to win against Aston Villa on the opening day of the season. The main reason behind that was because of our defensive issues. So, last season, we started with Zeno Ibson Rossi at the back. He's now gone to Cambridge. I was a little bit disappointed because he had quite a lot of quality and young player. I thought that we could bring him through. But Gary Cahill come in and did very, very well. Got injured against Millwall. and then Steve Cook come back into the fold. And it had been the longest period of time that Steve Cook had actually been out of the squad. I did an interview with him, and since Eddie took over, he'd not missed, the sort of games he had at the start of last season.
Mhm.
Cumming did a fantastic job. There was rumours that he was going to go to QPR, and instead, eventually went to Nottingham Forest, of course, where
Mhm.
he won promotion. Um, After he went, we loaned Nat Phillips off our new best friends Liverpool, and after a bit of a dodgy start against Boreham Wood, he was rock solid. Of course, we couldn't get him back, so we started off with Chris Metham, who was disappointing. Really, it's got to be said. The season before, he was the one that brought down the Brentford player, Buemo, to actually cause. Well, he got sent off, put us down to 10 men, and then,
Yeah.
of course, that resulted in us getting knocked out of the playoffs, where we was ahead of them. We was doing really, really well, and so yeah, it was a bit of a surprise because he really stepped up to the plate in that first game. And got that surprise win against Aston Villa. How good are they? I'm sure we'll come to that in a bit. But then we had the task of going to Manchester City away, and we did put in a decent performance. Of course, Man City just ooze class. They just got so much quality over the pitch. We kept Haaland quiet, but of course, they've got so much talent in other areas that they put us to the sword. Then come the home game against Arsenal, and I think this is where the wheels have kind of fallen off a little bit. First
Yeah.
10 minutes, we was 2-0 down. Two fantastic goals by Odegaard. Jesus ran through the defence. It was like putting a knife through butter. And yeah, we were poor defensively. We didn't control the midfield. We didn't press them. After the 30th minute, we did seem to step up a little bit more to the plate. There was no real support for Kiefer Moore up front. He is a
Mhm.
slow forward. He's a bit of a target man, get balls into the box. But of course, that isn't going to be that easy against a side like Arsenal. And then, to be fair, the Saliba goal, nobody would have stopped. And shall we talk about Saturday? Because I've tried to phase it out of my memory. Never ever been to Anfield before myself.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, that was quite an experience. To be fair, was very, very positive going up there. Thought, yeah, we could get something here. We could do something. After 6 minutes, I realised that my early predictions were
Yeah.
blown straight out the window, and it was the manner of the defeat. It was more Liverpool on their day, and how they played on Saturday would have beaten anybody in the world. They would have beaten Real Madrid, Barcelona,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bayern Munich, you name them. They were that good, but we made it easy for them. We didn't press them. There was nobody running off Kiefer Moore. The substitutions were a little bit strange as well. Solanke did come off the bench. I was wondering whether or not it would be worthwhile keeping him back ready for this game. Nope,
Mhm.
come off the bench. He hobbled off. And a 9-0 defeat is just completely unacceptable at any level. Um, I'll name them because they're local to yourselves, but if Walsall had played Liverpool in a cup game and got beat 9-0, I'm
Yeah.
sure they would have been equally disgusted, even though where they are and where Liverpool are.
Mhm.
It was just no fight. And the comments by Parker afterwards surely give the players zero confidence. Where he's
Mm.
saying that he expects more heavy defeats, he expects, he doesn't feel that we've got the personnel. It was incredibly disappointing all round. And we've got to bounce back somewhere. And Wolves could be a perfect side for us to play at this time. Of course, haven't won in the last 11 games.
Hmm.
However, I after watching that on Saturday, I still think there might be a bit of a gulf in class.
We've spoken a little bit about Scott Parker. He's obviously his opinion. He's been at the club for just over a year now. Bit of a, from an outsider, quite surprised to see him move from Fulham to you guys, but obviously the right decision because he's got you back into the Premier League. But I'm sure if I asked you this sort of on Friday or Thursday, the answer might be a bit different. But what's your overall opinion on Scott Parker as a manager and obviously how he's taking charge of Bournemouth so far?
To be fair, you're quite right, Dave. Last week, I would have said, he's done a decent job. He's got us out the Championship. It looks like this season with Bournemouth, he's got a plan B, and that plan B was Kiefer Moore. Um, of course, since then, the concerns from last season do crop up. So even in the Championship, we got 37 points out of our first 15 games, which was a brilliant record, really. Um, then the wheels started to come off. We got beat by Preston. We always seem to get beat by Preston. They're just our bogey team. And we had some disappointing results. We didn't beat Peterborough last season. We drew twice against Peterborough. We got beat by Derby County at Pride Park. Reading was another one. We was 1-0 up against them, well in control. Scott Parker made some substitutions. And to be fair, from having lots of opportunities, which really we should have gone into the break a lot more up. We should have been 2, 3, 4-0 up. We ended up, you know, thanking, that we didn't lose that game because Reading could have easily turned us over that day. So there is those concerns with him, but he seemed to get it right in those vital games. So Swansea, we went 3-0 down. He changed it up, got back to 3-0. That was a vital point, really. Against Nottingham Forest, that pass from Billing to Kiefer Moore to actually score that goal was excellent. He set the team up. His halftime team talk, which can actually be found on YouTube, was excellent. Was really, really good. And we finished the season really strongly. The concerns is that after Saturday, even though we were getting beat heavily at the time when he made his first substitution, it didn't actually make any sense what he'd actually done. And in fact, he brought a youngster on for his debut at the end, which is fair enough. But do you really want to bring a youngster into a defeat like that, considering, we'd already been humiliated by Liverpool? And the concern is that I don't think he has the actual knowledge or the willpower to turn it round, because after his comments after the match, expecting more heavy defeats and things like that, what sort of message is that going to send out to the players?
Yeah, it's strange. And again, we'd spoken about it before, and I think there's one thing sending a message out to the board saying, look, I want players, but there's another thing, actually almost throwing your own squad under the bus. And again, really, Bournemouth, and I'm sure for the fans, are going to be desperate for a reaction on Wednesday. And that's why it's going to be quite an intriguing game. I think Wolves want a reaction, but I think we almost don't know what Bournemouth side to expect. Are they going to be fragile after the defeat, or are they going to continue and, sort of bounce back? Talking about, obviously, formation, the Bournemouth squad so far, what's been the typical formation and style of squad that we've seen so far this season?
So against Aston Villa, we played 3 at the back, 5 across the midfield, 3 up top, just slightly off Slanky. He changed that up against Liverpool to a 4-4-2 formation, which didn't really make any sense at all. And the players didn't really seem to buy into that. last season we was playing with a back five. So, but those wing backs would actually get forward. So
Hmm.
Jordan Zamora and Adam Smith would get forward, quite a lot, and build it in to a bit of a bigger midfield. Midfield is our strength, or
Yeah.
so we thought anyway. Um, Lewis Cook, in particular, against Liverpool, he was probably the only one that really come out of that with any credit because he did chase after the ball. He did try and make things happen. So, without a shadow of a doubt, he'd have to start. But I would say that Scott Parker will probably go back to what he did against Aston Villa, rather than what he did against Liverpool. Because let's be
Yeah.
honest, it didn't work, did it?
Yeah. If you had to pick, what would be your sort of preferred 11 though for the game? If you had to pick for
Mhm.
Wednesday's match, you had to pick a formation and a squad with players that you know are going to be sort of close to fitness or going to be fit for the game. Who would you go with?
I think after after the Liverpool game, it's quite difficult to say. It could be completely different to what I
Hmm.
reckon here. But I think Neto's got to start in goal because
Yeah.
Mark Travers has taken so much of a battering. It's a shame. He is a young goalkeeper. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's an Irish international. So yeah, Neto will come in, I reckon. Um, the back three, I think I would hope Kelly is fit.
Hmm.
If Kelly is fit, he will play. Senesi, I think, probably will get the nod over Metham. And in fact, I would actually bring Jefferson Lerma into that back three, which he did against Aston Villa and did well. He did
Yeah.
very, very well. He even scored a goal in the 3rd minute against Villa. So I think that would be the back three. Um, I think a little bit more advanced from them, you'll have Adam Smith and Jordan Zamora, who, if we are under pressure, will drop back.
Yeah.
Um, then I think moving forwards, I think you've got to have Lewis Cook in there. He's a dead cert to play. Lewis Cook, I think Phil Billing probably in
Yeah.
the centre as well. And I think Tavernier probably on the left, Ryan Christie on the right, and we've got to go with that man Solanke up front. Although I wouldn't put the full blame on Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore is a very good forward. 9 times out of 10, if he's through on goal, one on one with a goalkeeper, he will put it in the back of the net. He's just not quick enough. It's just not
Mm.
quick enough. Whereas Solanke will he's not a greedy forward. Even though he scored 30 last year, he'll hold the ball up, he'll pass it back, he'll open up for somebody like Phil Billing or Jefferson Lerber if he was in the midfield, which I think he'll probably go into the back three. He will actually bring them in. Pearson won't really get involved in that, but Phil Billing, Lewis Cook will do. And I think that is probably one of our assets. There was rumours that he was being earmarked to go to Everton and Leicester.
Mm.
Thankfully, those rumours have now gone a bit quieter because, let's be honest, after Saturday, we need him. And I think there will be one more signing up front during this window. And the man that has been harped on about since the start of the summer, to be fair, is Ben Brereton Diaz.
Mm.
And I think there's probably some truth in that.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I think that'd be a good sign. I'd be surprised if he doesn't end up in the Premier League before the end of the window. Playing Wolves on Wednesday. A quick word on Wolves. What are your sort of overall thoughts on Wolves? What their sort of squads like, their ambitions, and sort of pick out a couple of danger men that you're worried about for Wednesday's game?
Of course, we've played Wolves a couple of times in the Premier League, and uh, the quality players are still there. You've got
Hmm.
the Neves, you've got the Jimenez. They've Bruno Lage has added players to that. I think the side was better under Nuno. I think,
Hmm.
he really did get the best out of the team. But there's still a lot of quality. And if you looked at the two sides on paper, you would say Wolves have definitely got the better of the two teams. The two players I've named there, Neves, Jimenez, two quality players. Outstanding. Neves, I think, would walk into most Premier League sides.
Yeah.
After all, a lot of Premier League, some of the top six have been after him
Yeah.
before. But fingers crossed you can keep hold of him because he seems to enjoy it at Molineux. Jimenez's celebration is brilliant, by the way. The Pirate one
Just
as well. So
yeah. Yeah.
um, with regards to Wolves at the moment, I watched a bit of the game against Newcastle. I did think you did play well, but there's those frailties, and it shows that, of course, Wolves haven't won in the last 11 games. Probably the perfect team to play, really, to put that right. But I think, Wolves could be doing a lot better than what they are at this moment in time. And,
Yeah.
the quality is there. Semedo looks a very, very good player as well. The Portuguese contingent, Neto as well, your Neto.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult on Wednesday. Every game's difficult in this league.
Mm.
I just hope that we have a reaction, that we do get in Wolves' face. But then again, I think Wolves will probably think the same and think, right, okay, they've just come off the back of a 9-0 defeat. They're there for the taking. We are a young side. And will going down be the end of the world? Oh, not really. But as long as we can keep hold of everybody to bounce back,
Yeah.
that is our priority. It'd be great to stay in the Premier League, but on the basis of what I've seen.
Yeah. And a score prediction then for Wednesday. What are you thinking?
I would take a point. I would take a point with my heart. To be perfectly honest, though, based on what I saw on Saturday up at Liverpool, I can't see anything bar a Wolves win with my head. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope the
Yeah.
players do react. I hope Scott Parker can change his mentality as well. The question now is if he has lost the dressing room, if he has lost the confidence, surely he's not the right man. Even though he did get us out the championship, he's not the right man to take on this job. And we
Yeah.
should be potentially looking at somebody who is a bit scrappier. Somebody like an Allardyce, somebody like a Sean Dyche, or someone of that sort,
Yeah.
who can scrap for every point, get stuck in there, and we'll just see where we end up.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season for Bournemouth, an interesting end to the transfer window, I'm sure, as well. Craig, before we finish off, where can people find you and your channel if they wish?
So our channel is called Up the Cherries in all departments. So if you type in UTCIAD into YouTube, it will all pop up. We've had loads of interviews. We did have, which Dave was part of,
Yeah.
Harry Redknapp season preview show, where I was a little bit more optimistic than I am now. Um, We've also had loads of player interviews as well. So if you want to find out about Steve Fletcher, Steve Cook, also some of the older players that we had, Efan Akuku, Luther Blizzett, and also we've had some celebrities on there. So like Simon Day from the Fast Show, and many more, Stefan Rodri as well. So yeah, do check us out and let us know what you think.
Yeah, I'll be sure to leave a link for that channel in the description. And Craig, yeah, looking forward to have you on the channel. Fingers crossed to the reverse fixture. Be
Yep,
interesting to see,
definitely.
obviously, where both clubs are there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy the game on Wednesday. And yeah, I'll see you next time.
Yep, thank you so much for having me on, Dave.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
So big thanks once again to Craig. I will leave a link to his channel and Twitter in the description down below. I've gone with I've used my head and my heart. I used my head and said it'd be typical Wolves and it would be a 1-1 draw. But my heart is saying a 2-0 Wolves win. Let's try and get a clean sheet. Let's try and get a couple of goals into the back of the net. Like I said, I'll be really intrigued to see how Bournemouth react to that game against Liverpool. it'll be very, very interesting. Unfortunately, not going to the game. Was offered a ticket by Wolves very, very last minute, but due to travelling, work commitments and so on, decided I'm going to sit back and relax and watch this one at home. But guys, let me know your thoughts ahead of this game in the comment section down below. Do you think the pressure is on Bruno Lage to get a result in this match? Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you all very, very soon.